Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Hope and Her podcast. I'm excited about being here this morning on this good holiday edition of First Fruits to 40 out here on Labor Day for all the things. Listen, listen, y'all, I'm really excited about what God's doing in this season because I can tell y'all, let me tell you something. I have canceled things for less, right? Let me tell you, let me listen, like I just can't make it today, okay? But y'all listen, the Lord is changing my heart, my mind, and all the things during this holiday season as I am recording these first fruits to 40, and first fruits to 40 really is just about the lifestyle of sacrifice, the lifestyle of giving, the lifestyle of honoring God um with our first, not the last, the rubble, the leftover, right? But with the first, the best of, right? And that's what first fruits is about. And so even this morning when I was like I would totally like to not I just couldn't, like, really, I literally just I could not. And so I am grateful to be here this morning. Let me introduce to you our guest. She is no stranger to the First Fruits podcast, the First Fruits segment of the Hope and Her podcast. um where we have Dawn Stevens, who is the author of Getting Out of God's Way. She is our resident expert on getting out of God's way. How many of you have ever had an issue with getting out of God's way? Listen, I know it's early in the morning and I know it's a holiday, but if you ever been in God's way, you be like, surrender just really ain't the thing I need to do right now because I need to fix this thing. Just put just put getting out of God's way in the chat. Just put out of God's way in the chat for me or whatever. Let me know I'm in the right room. Um and so one thing that God has done in this season has connected us, and I love it because um she has these practical things that we can do to be like, okay, let me shift because perhaps perhaps I'm in God's way. So she has been on multiple times. Let me bring her in. Let me bring Dawn in. Hey, now, good morning, good morning.
Dr. Joy. Good
Hey,
morning.
hey, hey,
How are
hey. Now listen, Dawn has been on multiple times, so y'all know her, y'all. Or if you haven't, if it's your first time to the show, put first time to the show in the chat, even if you're catching it on the replay.
you?
If you're here, I see these numbers going up. Say hi to us because your hi matters, especially when we here we pushing through. So just say hi to us today, and if you're catching it on the replay, put hashtag replay, and I do my best to come back and speak to you all afterwards if you're catching it on the replay. So again, for those of you that don't know, Dawn is our resident expert on getting out of God's way, and as we are talking about first fruits. Listen, one of the biggest things that we can do in life, like that we contend against in our movement and in life, is literally just being in God's way. Just being in God's way. My brother is on, for whatever reason, he is loving this segment, and this man is up at 6 a.m. So he is up saying hello, hello,
Hey,
hello.
brother.
Yeah, he's saying hello. And why this is important, y'all. Like, let me tell y'all why this is important. Because he put in the chat one day, he said, I got a 40-day story. Well, then come on and tell your story, sir. Come on and tell your story. And I can't wait for you. I can't wait to hear what he gonna tell. So he'll be on with us. Actually, a week from today, he will be on with us. So listen, get your life together and be with us. Be with us. Make sure we on September the 9th. You are here. So you are here with us. So, all right, Dawn. So this is your chance to be with us this week. I'm excited to hear what you got to say this week. If any, where are you? What has the Lord had on your heart? Let's just start there. The people already know how you know me. So
Oh, okay. So let's see what the Lord had on my heart. Let me go real quick. I'm gonna take you to some place because I'm gonna pull it up. I'm just gonna pull up the last. You know how God will give you something and you just type it in your phone and you don't know why it was there or whatever, what have you.
okay.
So the most recent thing that I got in regards to even first fruit, in regards to how we're showing up for God. We're in sports season, right? So football started
Yes, yes,
back,
yes. I'm
right?
excited about it. All right.
The question that I have today is: are we playing offense or are we playing defense?
Oh,
Right, in this season, are we playing offense? Are we like really committed to orchestrating a play, or are we just responding to how life is showing up, right?
baby, are you playing offense or defense?
Yeah,
Are you?
are you being reactive, right? Or are you being proactive? So
My
which one,
goodness.
um when you play defense, sometimes you have to react to the team of whatever offense they are running, right? You have to
Hmm.
show up dependent on how that team shows up. And so one of the things that God is asking us in first fruits is for us to make the plan, right? To be
Hmm.
intentional about the plan, to move, to move first, and then not just, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm praying because something going on in my life. I'm praying because, oh, this thing happened. Oh, I'm praying because somebody got sick. But the Lord
Hmm.
is saying, I need you to write up your prayer plan. I need you to write up your scope. I need you to make sure that you know, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Um, I need you to make sure that you know why, all that should already be laid out, right? And so that's
Hmm.
one of the things that the Lord had me doing as we enter into what I call the back four.
Hmm.
Is we're on the last 4 months of the year, right? We're on the last 4 months of the year. So how
Hmm.
are we closing the year out, right? How are
Mm.
we closing the year out? And the reason why now in September we need to know how we're doing our closeout is because when it's time to prepare for next year,
My God.
right? We should be doing that at the end of the year, right? So we don't want to start talking about end of the year closeout at the end. If you're anywhere near a store right now, they have Halloween stuff out. They start putting out all of these other things months in advance.
Hmm.
It was still July last month, and they had Halloween stuff out, right?
Hmm.
So I think one of the things that we have to remember in our first fruits is the preparation, right? Because
Yes.
first fruit starts way before the first fruit, right?
Listen,
I think
listen.
we talked about this yesterday on the podcast with your guest about preparation, or it was the day before, one of the days. They all started going
Um,
together for me. But being prepared. And so how
mhm.
do we give our first fruits if we haven't set a space, a place to do that, right? How do we do that if we haven't? So that was my question for today.
Oh,
Again, God,
listen.
are you being offensive or are you being defensive, right? Are you just responding, or are you being intentional about, hey, this is what I'm creating a space for God, right?
Mhm.
One of the things that I talk about in getting out of God's way is preparing a place, right?
Yee.
We're going on a 30-day journey, but there's some things that need to take place before you get on this 30-day journey, right? You need to set the tone, you need to set the atmosphere, you need to get, you
Oh,
need to get
okay,
ready.
okay, 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 okay.
Dr.
So listen to me. Listen, Dog came on here and she done dropped the whole everything for the week. Listen to me. Listen. Are we going? First of all, let's pause and just rest in the question. In
Okay.
your life, are you on offense? Are you playing offense or defense? And for those of you that are not sports enthusiasts, listen, offense is when you oh man, what, hold on, before I make this explanation, there was a phrase that we used to love back in the day from I don't know. Offense sells tickets, defense sells games. Is that right? I can't remember. Wins games. I can't remember. Anyways, point is, anyways, anyways. But listen, offense is when you have the ball and it is your duty to get to the goal. And you are, but defense is when you are protecting your goal,
Come on,
right?
Dr. Joy. Dr.
Defense is defense is with a team. The team is protecting its goal, right? And so the question has been asked this morning, like, where are you at in life? And so in this particular year, 2024, we are in the last, we are headed towards the last quarter, right? And so the big thing about any game that you play is preparation. Is preparation. Now, some other things about the game, and I could stay on this sports analogy forever, like preparation, your teammates, your playbook, right? Your even sometimes the fans. Listen, home court advantage makes a difference, right? Um, but um, when I think about where we are in life right now, are we on offense or defense in year 2024? Because I can't believe it's already September. Like, let me tell you, I woke up and it was September and I was like, yesterday was January. How did we get here so quickly? How did we get here so quickly?
Absolutely.
But back in the day when I did play a little bit of sports, a little bit of sports, I wasn't. We'll talk about what that looked like in real life. But I was at the games and I had a jersey on and I was on the bench. Now, did I? Whatever. The point is, I went to practice too. Anyways, the point is, I was on the team. So a few times. Um, and one of the things that I have always been on the back end is an encourager. And so, like, I don't care if we was getting dogged out when we went into that locker room or that huddle on, halftime or whatever the case is. Like, the only thing I could think is, like, we still got time, coach. We still got time. Like, even if it didn't look like what we wanted to look like, we still have time. And so, while we have some time left in this year, Dawn has made some key points about preparation. Listen, listen, you don't go on the field unprepared. You got to look a certain way. You got to feel a certain way. Before the sports season begins, there's a season of conditioning. There's a time when you do nothing but exercise towards your goal,
Absolutely.
exercise towards the thing that you're going to go to. And and this is the statement that made me have Dawn stop. She said, first fruits is preparing a place for God. First fruits is preparing a place for God. And so it's conditioning. It's conditioning, right? It's conditioning for what your day will feel like, what your week will feel like, what your month will feel like. I think sometimes we be so surprised when we be in these spaces where we be challenged and we literally haven't prepared. And it doesn't mean that we're not going to have challenges, but when you're prepared for a challenge, it makes it so much easier to go through, so much more enjoyable to go through. And I'm not saying that we enjoy challenges, but I'm saying that we can find the places of joy in a challenge, right? um when you're prepared. But when
Yeah.
you're
Mm.
frantic and you're trying to figure things out, when you're trying to just figure it out on the go, on a swivel, it makes it that much harder.
Yeah, one of the things I was going to say too, though, is because we act like first fruit is the only fruit that we're supposed to get,
Oh Lord.
right?
Oh, talk to the
So
people.
the first fruit is just the first fruit, right? But there's other fruits that we should be providing, right? We just happen to be talking about first fruits because that's part of what Dr. Joy is doing for her 40 day. But the first fruit again, so the first fruit is the initial fruit. But from that initial fruit, right? From the first fruit, when you plant the first seed, there should be some multiplication of more seed, right? There should be some multiplication of the benefit of the first fruit, right? And so sometimes, like with the sports analogy, we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about, are you on offense or are you on defense? Because it does determine how you prepare.
Mm-hmm.
There's different strategies for both things. And then, I mean, when I used to work at Michigan State in the athletic department at Michigan State University,
Mm-hmm.
and actually um I was a recruit assistant for their football and basketball teams. And so w- each team prepared differently based on what they were preparing for, right? Your football team, you had an offensive line, you had a defensive line, right? And so each side had their own mode of preparation. For basketball, it was a team, or more of a team sport. So we have to understand, are we playing offense or defense, and how long the quarters last? We know that there's seasons in life, right? And so we don't wear ourselves out. You don't want to go into a football game preparing for it like it's a basketball game,
Ooh-wee.
right? So there's some times where you can be in a season of something that's taking, years to pray for, right? And it's not happening right away. It didn't happen instantly. It didn't, your deliverance or your healing didn't come on your first prayer, on your second prayer, on your third prayer. You're on year 5
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
you're still praying for that thing. But we have to make sure that we're prepared mentally,
Mhm.
right? That's part of, and for me, I know that's part of first fruits, right? Because I know that if I prepare better, then I can show up better.
Ooh, if I prepare better, I can show up better. Pause right there. If I prepare better, I can show up better. Okay, so I'm gonna touch. I can. Okay, before I get to I can prepare better. She said first fruits is not the only fruit that we're supposed to give. Like we are talking about the first offering, giving God the beginning, whatever. But again, we also talked about this being a lifestyle. Like we should have a lifestyle of giving, a lifestyle of our offering, of preparing for God, and I think it is so important that that we find ourselves in the place of to prepare while we can, right? Because I'd hate for us to be in
Right,
action mode trying to prepare. It
baby.
go it's you supposed to be living out the blessing that you have, and you trying to prepare for it because
Listen,
you didn't prepare before you got it. And you talked about praying. You talked about praying for multiple years for things to come. Listen, sometimes when we pray, the spiritual world does it goes into action for it, and it does take time. There's a scripture in the Bible, it's between Genesis and Revelation, but it's in there somewhere, and I believe it was it David that was praying, and the archangel said, "Listen, I heard." It was Daniel. He said, "I was praying." He said, "I heard you when the prayer happened, and we started doing what we needed to do to make it happen. But I got caught up on some stuff. But I've been on my way to
mhm,
you."
yes,
So that means things have been going on around us, and we have to remember we are literally spiritual beings having a human experience, and not human beings having a spiritual experience. Like literally, God has angels working on our behalf, right? And so we literally we have to prepare what we believe God is giving to us, what God has for us, because literally all of heaven and earth is conspiring. The universe is conspiring at God's hand to give us what it is that we need in these seasons.
yes,
So we got to prepare. We have to prepare. We got to prepare in the off season. We got to prepare in the off season. We got to prepare in the off season.
yes, ma'am. I know, it was one of the reasons again, my daughter plays sports. So this is our season for car prep, right?
Hmm.
So some of the first things that I do during this season is I begin to prepare the trunk of my car for whatever we can get out here. I mean, we live in Michigan, so I could go to the football game. It could snow, rain, hail. You just really never know. And so, um, but God is calling me. I mean, God speaks to me in the simplest of ways, right? So as I'm
Hmm.
preparing the trunk, the Lord is like, okay, I need you to prepare for this in the same way that you prepare for this, right? And so
Mm.
one of the reasons why I'm like, okay, because I'm like, okay, I want to be ready for whatever, right? And so when we leave our first fruit encounter and experience, right? One of
Hmm.
our prayers, it should be for God to prepare us for whatever the day would bring, right?
Mm.
Allow us to
Hmm.
allow us to be ready, allow us to be flexible, right? Because what we do know, Dr. Joy, is ministry don't come at convenient times, right?
No,
Ministry doesn't.
no.
So
It
maybe
just,
you on your way to Macy's, but now you need to stop because somebody else has need of thee, and your shoe purchase gotta wait, right? Or maybe you to think you want to do something after church, but somebody need prayer, right? So
hmm.
ministry isn't always a convenient thing, but if we ask God to prepare us in our moment of when we're at the first fruits, right, we can be better equipped to pivot on the at any given time.
Hmm.
So
I love it. I love it. Um, we can be prepared to give at any given time. We can be prepared to give at any given time. Sometimes we are asked to give when some give of ourselves. Sometimes we are asked to give to show up again in a place of inconvenience. I'll tell y'all, when God gave me first fruits to 40 and he said 6 a.m., I was like, first of all, sir. While I am a morning person, who do you think is going to be up at 6 a.m.
Been
to
there.
be first fruiting? And initially I said, well, we can do first fruits and we can just, do it whenever, and we'll just have a conversation about it. Because I believe first fruits is a lifestyle, whatever, whatever. I was like, 6 a.m. I was like, every morning. Because then that means, for me, that means I have to prepare for my day. Let me tell y'all, I am a dawdler. This is what I've learned about myself over the last 41 years. Like,
You said
I
you said toddler?
I am a dawdler.
Okay.
Listen, I
Like,
dawdle.
okay.
Listen, when I was a kid, like, he used to get on my mama's nerves, and so she would be like all of that dawdling around. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And I would like it would. And what I realized as an adult, I like to dawdle. I like to take my time. Now, don't get me wrong. I can get up on a drop of a hat too. I can get up and be ready and do whatever needs to happen quickly, quickly, quickly. But that causes a level of angst in me, and I
Exactly.
don't want that level of angst when I'm doing whatever the thing that I'm doing. I want to dawdle. I want to get up. I want to sit around. I want to sit on the side of my bed like this
Oh,
for about 12 minutes. I just need to, what are you doing? I'm not thinking about anything. I'm not doing anything. Like, I can't tell you what I'm doing. I want to walk down to the back room of my house and stand there like this. Why? I don't know. I don't know why. Like, I'm not looking for anything. I'm not doing anything. I like to dawdle, but that is a part of my preparation. That's a part of me being here and being ready. So when God said 6 a.m., I was like, oh, and I like to dawdle for a long time, right? If I can. So when I can control things, I've been waking up at 4 a.m. just so that I can feel ready to go at 6 a.m. Right. Um, and when I was seeing my patients or whatever, and I have a 6 a.m. because I will start patients at 6 a.m. But it's a different start, right? I feel like it's a different start where I'm hosting something. I got to be prepared. I need to make sure if I need to read something or I need to da 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 whatever the things
mhm.
that go along with it. But baby, let me tell y'all, this really has been sacrificial. I can tell y'all at 4 a.m. just about every morning I woke up, and I said this yesterday. I don't know if I was on camera or not when I said it, but um, just about every morning I'm like, oh, I can't wait till this is over. So like, my initial thought, I can't wait till this is over so I can lay back down. Not one morning have I laid back down, because by the time I've given my first fruits, I'm prepared for my day and I feel rejuvenated and I feel ready. And
Look at
I feel ready.
that.
Like, what does it take for you to feel ready? What does it take for you to feel ready? What
Mhm.
does it take for you to feel ready? And for me, one of those things is, in my preparation, it really is asking God to be a part of everything that I do today. So even in my daddling, and I'm just looking around, standing in the refrigerator, like looking for food to appear that ain't gonna be there because I didn't put it in there. But even in that, like, being in a space of preparing for the gift.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that you just said that was pivotal is even in your dawdling, you're preparing, right?
Hmm.
Dawdling, you're preparing, and so as you are dawdling, it's key that we know, right? That we know um, what our preparation looks like,
Hmm.
right? Because I have a dawdler, right,
Hmm.
and I have a planner. So, in my children are two polar opposites.
Okay.
I have a so you could just imagine what a wake up in the morning getting ready for school looks like. You got one dawdler and one person in the car all ready to be down the street, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so, but they both prepare differently, right? And if you don't know that you prepare need different type of preparation, right? You
Mhm.
know, introverts and extroverts, they prepare differently, right? They
Mhm.
replenish differently, they recharge differently. So it's key that we know these types of things because it's crucial to success.
Absolutely.
It's crucial to our success. And so, as we are preparing for the first fruits of 40, right? Don't
Mhm.
just get on here to see what Dr. Joy or I am going to say in the morning for the first fruits, but prepare even when you arrive here, Lord, what speak to me through here. Let me hear something that I can use in my life that will be pivotal, that will change, that will push me towards the goal that you have predestined for me on this day. One of the things I want us to think about when we're talking about, are you playing offense or are you playing defense? And one of the reasons why I said that is the reactionary piece, right? The reactionary, making
Mm-hmm.
sure that you're not just your first fruits, your prayer life, your finances should not be used as a reaction to things that are going on in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We should have planned in advance. We should make, again, we should sit down and say, okay, this is how this time is going to go. Right?
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that I need. This is my expectations. This is my offering to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is a level of preparation. I promise you that it will bless you. And I only say that because I am not one that likes to prepare. I am I'm a I just want to be free and ebb with the flow, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But even in that, the Lord is asking us to prepare, because you can't come to a place with a sacrifice without first preparing the thing that you sacrifice.
The sacrifice has to be prepared. The sacrifice has to be prepared. We see it all through the Old Testament, right? Like when they prepare and it has to be prepared in a specific way,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
There are rules to preparation, okay? Like it's not just okay, bring this goat and throw it on the altar. No, they like bring this goat. Now this is the Joy International version, okay? They bring this goat, skim it up, take the hair off, move the right knuckle on the toe and put it behind his ear, and then wrap it in some twine before you put it on this,
Yeah,
this
and you have to
altar.
take it to a certain place. You have to prepare yourself before you gave the offering. Like there's levels and there's steps to these types of things. And so um when we're talking about first fruits specifically, right? When we're talking about first fruits, again, we talked about this saying that the first fruit was talking about offering, and then we extended it to your time, your talents, your treasure, um,
Your lifestyle.
your lifestyle, right? Again,
Hmm.
this life is not a life that is just, oh, I serve the Lord when I feel like it, or I serve the Lord on Sunday, or I'm Christian on Sunday, or I'm in and out, right? Like
Hmm.
rope. But it is a true lifestyle. This is how this is the foundation of how we are living, right? This is the foundation of how we are living, yet evolving each and every day into a better person, right? Into a better Christian, into a better light that should be shining for others to see Christ in us. And so part of our first fruit, right, is giving our best,
Yes.
right? Giving our best. So sometimes we do have to sit down. I mean, when I worked in the office at MSU, they prepare months in advance, right? Scouting every person, not just every team, but every person on the team, every play that they would run, right? Knowing the position that they needed to put all of the players in on offense in order to succeed, knowing all of the plays that they needed to play, teaching all of the people all of the players who were going to be playing on the team,
Hmm.
how to actually play so that they could win, right? And are we doing the same? Are we saying, hey, so one of the things, even in this season of my life, right, I had to tap in with the players and say, hey, listen, we're in a different season right now,
Hmm.
right? We're in a different season. Have you conditioned? Have you trained? Have you been led before the Lord? Are you making your request known? Are you making a sacrifice?
Hmm.
These rollover prayers ain't gonna work.
We are not in a season of rollover prayers.
Mm-mm.
We are not in a season of rollover prayers. We are a season of being able to communicate with God in a way that um will have him to operate on our behalf, right? To send the work, the angels, the warring angels, the things that we need. Like that, this is not that season of rolling over.
But
Uh,
just think about your first fruit, though, right? I mean, your
mhm.
first fruit, and when I say roll over, I don't mean um just roll over. What I'm saying is we need to come to God clear. We need to come to
Yeah,
God clean. We need to come to God ready to engage, right?
yeah.
Sometimes we're not even alert. You need to have a pencil and a pen. So when God starts to speak back to us, right? When he starts to speak back to us, we can take notes.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why I just grabbed my phone and said, what was the last thing that God said to me? Let's just talk about that. Right. God said to me this right here. This is what the Lord said to me. Are you
Hmm.
playing offense or are you playing defense? And does that make, how is that translated? And that's a conversation that I, will be having with some young people though, right?
Hmm.
You preparing for your life or are you just doing whatever comes up first?
Absolutely. And as we wrap up, I feel like, and like you said, having your pencil to to be ready, baby. When I tell you, took notes for the first. Y'all can't see the light on the back, but it's when it ain't. I've been writing the whole time. But anyways, the point I'm making, one of the things we talk about, one of the things that God has blessed me to give people hope. Like that's it. Like in all areas. Like it doesn't matter what I was doing, whether I was doing hair or nails, or whether I was serving the back end of a retreat or event, or whether I was just working or whatever the case is. What I know about myself and what I know about God is that He has made me a hope cultivator, right? Like, and every time I leave somebody's presence, it's like, man, I feel like I can go on. I feel like I can do more. And that's what hope is about. Whether we're at our highest high or our lowest low, there is hope. There is always, always, always more. And he gave me this acronym for hope: honest observation, practical execution.
Mhm.
Right. And so as we're wrapping up, an honest observation for what we've been talking about today and persevering and all those things, is just to recognize what season you are in. So ask yourself the question today: what season are you in your life? What season are you in your year? What season are you in whatever area you are? And then the second question is, are you playing offense or defense? And how do you prepare? Right. And the practical execution for that is when you know what season you're in, you know how to prepare. You know how to prepare. And so take one step, just one step. I'm all about like small incremental steps, just because I know how life is, right? We can say we just about to get out here and we gonna do all the things that we need to do. We gonna go through intense conditioning. No, just take one step towards the season that you are in, towards preparing for the season that you are in. Take one step towards preparing for the season that you're in. Now, here's the thing: if you don't know how to prepare for the season that you're in, here is one practical step. And the Lord gave this to me yesterday, and I'm like, Lord, I might be having to use that for everything. And it is send one text or email towards that, right? Like you may not know how to do it, but you know somebody who does. You may know somebody who's in a position ahead of you who's doing the same thing. It may even be just a one of those shoot your shot emails like, "Hey, I know that you do this thing. Are you looking for someone to mentor?"
Yeah, I think even beyond that, the one thing that everybody should do is just go to the book.
Mm, all right.
Right. I,
I'm with you. I'm with you when you're
right.
right. I'm with you when you're
That's
right.
the first root, right? Like, get to the book, right? Go
And the
to
book
the
she's referring to, for those of you
right.
who just joined us, is The Bible.
Yeah. And I only say, just thinking about again, focusing us back in on the thing that's easiest to do right now, right? When you don't know, baby, I promise you, the Lord will bring your scripture to you or in some way. Even if you
Mhm,
just open up the Bible and read the scripture that the page land on, right? But I again take an intentional step,
mhm.
right? Take an intentional step. Start to study a specific type of topic. Start to study um a, a chapter in the
Absolutely.
Bible, right? Start a study that's speaking to the very thing that you feel led to. But don't just
Absolutely.
study it. Then you need to sit and hear what God has to say concerning you, right? Because sometimes we
Absolutely.
read,
Absolutely.
right?
When I was struggling with, and again, I've talked to multiple days on the show about just being in a place where God has just been molding me and all those kinds of things, and was getting back to my intimate relationship with God. I picked up practical execution, went to the book, I picked up my phone, I opened up the Bible act, I looked for a devotional on relationship with God.
Yeah.
The other thing I looked for when I looked for a devotional on the relationship with God was a short devotional on the relationship with God, because I need to start. I got to know who I'm dealing with. I need to start in a space where I know I can finish. So I found a 3 day, and then from there it's like, okay. Then I went to a 5 day, then a 7 day. Now I think I'm on, like, I think I got one that's a 40 day. Um, and but it was a build up, right? It wasn't just, I didn't jump right to the 40 day,
Right.
because I knew that wasn't gonna work for me. I know myself, right? I know
Part of
me.
preparation, right? You
I
started
know me. So I started with the 3 day. What they saying here, right? A lot of it was review. Absolutely. But sometimes we got to review to get to where, God is taking us, to get to where God wants us to be. So as we've had a good conversation this morning talking about um on this Hope and Her podcast, and we've been talking about whether we're on offense or defense. Need you to recognize, it's important for us to recognize where we are so that we can prepare for where we are, because preparing for offense can be a different type of preparation for preparing for defense, right?
and
um
keeping in mind that in this last quarter of the
mhm.
year, we could need to prepare for both.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Hey, the quarter
Listen,
quarters change, right? When the ball
it changed, and here's the thing, and it can be a close game. Now, if it's a blowout and you just got to be on offense because y'all gonna win or whatever, it's
it could be a close game, Dr. Joy.
it could be a close game. It
Okay.
could be a close game. Let's talk about it. In basketball, before you, if you're in a blowout on basketball where this not the close game, right? Like, you got the team that's just the dog and so much better. Like, those were the games that I got to play in, because I wasn't on the starting five. Let's just be clear. On the starting five. But I got to play in the games where we knew we was gonna win. The coach would put out the starting five. They would do what they do. They would be all extra fancy. They would get they would get the ball to the hoop, and we would be 50 points ahead or whatever the case may be. Then they put us in, right? So that we could have a chance on the floor. Okay. And that was when they would put us in so that we would have a chance on the floor. We could play how we play. Like, it didn't matter because we were so far ahead. All right. But when it's a close game, oh baby, we already knew either we wasn't going in or they was gonna take us out. Whatever the case may be, it was. So you gotta know what team to put in when. Let's be clear. Like, you couldn't put me in when it mattered. Let's just be real. I wasn't that player. That was not who I was. One day I wrote a note to my coach. I was on the freshman basketball team. I wrote a note to my coach. I said, if you're not gonna put me in until the last minute of the game, don't put me in. Don't put me because he would just put us in so we would have a chance to play at the very end.
No,
Don't
thank
put
you,
me in.
sir.
Don't
Sir,
put
no,
me in
thank
the
you.
game for
Don't
the
put me.
last 30 seconds of this game. But sometimes we're in a place, listen, sometimes we are in a place where um the reality is such that we have to um we have to move in the direction that God will have us to move in, right? And so if it's a close game, know what team to put in. If it's a close game, know what plays to run. If it's a close game, know how to be strategic with your timeouts. If it's a close game, you gotta know what it is that you know what I'm saying? You gotta know how to play it. If it's a blowout, then maybe this is your time to rest. Maybe it's a time to put in the reserves. Maybe it's a time
So,
to be the cheerleader for someone else, right? Because maybe we
as
don't.
you're saying that, Dr. Joy, so one of the things that I love to do is give people practical ways to apply things, right?
Mhm,
And so
mhm,
you said some key things, right? You said you need to know how to prepare, right? You need to
mhm,
know if you need to swap some people out, if you need a cheerleader. So it's, again, you need to know what scriptures to use.
mhm,
You need to know what prayer warriors to call.
mhm. Absolutely,
You need to know where you need to study to be encouraged, right?
absolutely.
And you can always reach out to your pastors or your, people who who teach Bible study. These are all ways in which we prepare spiritually, right? Have your war songs ready, right? Get your equipment ready, which I said, what worship songs to me, that's like war equipment. right? Because it keeps your mind focused on winning, right? It keeps your mind focused on the end result. Depending on what type of song that you get, but you want to make sure that you know what scriptures you're using to keep yourself encouraged, to keep yourself equipped. What scriptures are you quoting to the enemy as he's trying to convince you to get off your square? You know, so those are the different things, like the equipment that you need to use as you prepare for offense or defense, right? So sometimes, you know, your scriptures are going to be um more from a forethought, right? Because you're trying to manifest things in your life, right? You're trying
Mhm.
to declare and decree things. And then sometimes if you're playing defense, then you're trying to do healing, deliverance, right? So it's just a different level of approach, and I think
Absolutely.
understanding which approach to take, right? I mean, sometimes you're gonna have to war like Jesus did against Satan, right? Just
Mhm.
the scripture, pow, 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 pow. And then sometimes when you're at war, you're encouraging your own self,
Absolutely, like
right?
David.
You're getting discouraged, right? Right. So it's just a different level of fight, and you just need to make sure that you understand where you are and what tools that you can use in order to win.
Listen, and anybody who's new that's listening that picks this up, I'm gonna encourage you to grab the book of Psalms, right? Grab the book of
Come
Psalms.
on, book of
Grab
Psalms.
the book of Psalms because the book Psalms goes from
100, 150. Listen here. Come on.
139.
Come on. Come on.
Listen, because those are places where you can get filled on either side. And also, like when you recognize where David was when he wrote those Psalms, David went from Lord, I don't know what's going on, to Lord, smite my enemies, to Lord, I love you, to Lord, be with me, to Lord, I'm sad, to Lord, I need you, to Lord, come in. And it can be different times, different places for different things, right? And the Psalms, I believe encompasses them all. So grab that book of Psalms, get you a version of the Bible that you can understand, and go in. And there's Psalms of protection, there's Psalms of provision, there's Psalms of praise, right? So whatever season you're in, whether you're in a season of preparation, provision, praise, there's a psalm for it. So
Yeah.
just a practical execution. Grab the book of Psalms,
Love it.
grab the book of Psalms, and just start there. And then the Holy Spirit will guide you. He will. That I'm confident. But also, if you need a place to touch down, like you have these different communities. Getting Out of God's Way has a community, off and on Facebook. I have a community, a group, a private group where you can join and be a part of and ask the questions that you need to be a part of. And these are free places where you can go and find yourself and help yourself to prepare and those kind of things. If that's something you want, I just want you to put in the chat community and tag one of us, and we'll make sure that we come in and get you to where you need to be. That's number one. We got some stuff coming down the pipeline. I'm gonna let y'all enjoy your holiday. So just know, come back tomorrow for the church announcements. But just know it's a lot of stuff happening coming down the pipeline. We got books coming out. We got group workshops coming out. We got collaborative workshops. Dawn and I will be doing things in the future. Dawn has a book signing and monologues coming up on the 15th of September. If you're in the Detroit area, you want to know more about that.
Absolutely. The
That's
Lord's
happening.
gonna be in the house.
Huh?
I said the Lord's gonna be there.
The
The
Lord
house
will be there. The Lord
will
will
be
be there. If you need, listen, we got something for everything. If you in need of a retreat, of a vacational retreat, I'm gonna call it, where you can get away and get out of the hustle and the bustle. We got 2 spots left in Aruba for 10-3 to 10-7, and we got more of that kind of thing coming up. We're gonna be doing something local soon. We just, listen,
I'm the
listen.
woman involved. I got a spot open.
We got a spot open for Woman Involved. If you want to meet us in where is it, Dallas, Arlington,
Mm-hmm.
in Arlington, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
We got us. And listen, I like being able to just hang with some folks who know how to do some things. And don't get me wrong. Living and learning is good too. But Dawn brought out her Woman Evolved experience and was like, "We gonna be in a suite." I said, "Well, that's where I'm gonna be at for Woman Involved. I ain't gonna be in no bleacher if I can be in a suite, baby." Her Woman Involved experience is different than any Woman Involved experience I done heard about. So if y'all interested in Woman Involved and being in a suite, there's, there's some options. But I actually also
So,
know some options
so
if you
I have to
don't
say,
want the
so
suite option.
Dr. Joy, Listen, so you have to put it in proper context. Okay. We have a suite because those of us who were in the Getting Out of God's Way book club all wanted to be together. And if you know about conferences, it is so hard to gather women, right? 20 women together in a conference, everybody get there on time to get their seat, right? And listen, y'all know how these people are when you try to save a seat for your homegirl, right? Yes, anybody in this seat. And so, you know, I don't want to have to be asking the Lord to forgive me for going off on people. So I just said it was the best way. The Lord just opened up the opportunity. So it is definitely a
And
blessing. So
we thank the Lord for opening off opportunity. Who knew that that was an even opportunity to be open? Listen, when you where you supposed to be, you'll be in some space. She can downplay it if she wants to, but I'm excited about knowing exactly where I'll be because while I am a doctor, I also love to be prepared. so. Uh, so to know where I will be and to know where I will eat, that works for me. So I'm excited about the sweet experience that woman involved. But no, listen, she said there's one spot left there. There's some opportunities for you. There are some opportunities for you. And really, if you're looking for an opportunity, if you're catching it now, if you're with us now, if you're looking for some opportunities, put opportunities in the chat and we can let you know, individually what things are coming up. But also, if you're catching this on the replay, I guarantee you there's something happening, right? And so just put opportunity, even if you're catching it on the replay, and we'll let you know what is happening around you, or at least give you some direction on where you can go, whether it's a one-on-one session or whether it's a group that's happening somewhere, right? There's always something, literally always something. If you really want hope, if you really want your next, if you really want to learn about this lifestyle, if you really want to be a part of this lifestyle, if you really want to prepare for this lifestyle, there's always something that the Lord will have us to lead you or guide you to. Okay.
yeah.
So that's it. That's what I got for today. Do you have anything else for the people today?
I have nothing.
We have nothing, right? All right. So you all have a blessed and amazing day, and we will catch you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here for the Hope and Her podcast, the First Fruit to 40 segment. This is day 33. We are on day 33 of the countdown. So we'll see you tomorrow for day 32. Have a blessed and amazing day. Bye.